Yo, what's going on YouTube, and welcome back to another Everything We Know video. In this video, I am going to be talking about the upcoming Ubisoft title, Tom Clancy's The Division. First up, for those of you new to this title, The Division is an upcoming, persistent, open-world, tactical, cover-based online shooter. That's a mouthful. It's developed by Ubisoft Massive, Ubisoft Reflections, and Ubisoft Red Storm. It features a vast open world to explore both solo and cooperatively with up to 4 friends, a range of skill trees, progression mechanics and customization options that allow you to create your character the way you want to, and a story that evolves as you play as opposed to funneling you through a linear path. So let's dive a little deeper. The game is inspired by Operation Dark Winter and Directive 51, which serve to reveal how vulnerable the United States have become. Society has become fragile and complex. In The Division, a disease that spreads on Black Friday causes the United States to collapse in 5 days. You, the player, are part of a group called the Strategic Homeland Division, SHD, or the Division for short. The group was established to combat the threat brought about by the outbreak, and are given direct authority from the President to do whatever it takes to save what remains. The game takes place 3 weeks after the virus outbreak, which means you are very much in the middle of the apocalypse, and events are designed to unfold as you progress through the game. The story isn't designed in the conventional linear fashion, where arriving at a certain point triggers the next branch in the story. Instead, it's designed to evolve as you play. This in turn allows players to go where they want, when they want, yet still experience the narrative as they progress. Events will unfold through your actions as a player, not through predetermined checkpoints. The Division has a PvP mechanic which I will talk about later on, but it's important to note that you can complete the story all without having to touch PvP if you so wish. Again, it's your world, play it how you want. As previously discussed, the game is set in a huge online persistent world that is designed to evolve over time. Ubisoft stated that the intention is to build on the existing world, expanding it over time. This means you could expect to see MMO style expansions to this already vast looking world. It's also worth noting that Ubisoft's intention is to have only 1 server per platform. That means if you're playing on Xbox One, then everyone will coexist in the same online world. Sort of. The main reason for this is that Ubisoft want to avoid the situation where players choose the wrong server, move to another one to join their friends, and in turn have to recreate their characters. Not an ideal situation. Despite all being on 1 server, this doesn't mean you'll have millions of people in your world at any one time. Players do still have their own persistent versions of their world. When players party up, they join the party leader's world, so while it's still vast and online, it will adopt a more instanced structure. Also, being a fully persistent online experience means that this title is always online. Whether you want to roam the world alone or party up with friends, whatever you do will be online. And while the majority of your experience is instanced and personal to you and to those that you invite into your world, there are locations dotted around the world known as dark zones. It's in these zones that PvP will take place, and there are supposedly a few missions that cross over into these dark zones, which means players could potentially mess with your story. Also, if you die in PvP, then items you haven't previously extracted with, and in turn saved, will be lost. There's also an extensive dynamic content system in place that is designed to spawn new content each time you play, to make every playthrough a completely different experience. The entire map will be open to you at the beginning of the game, again emphasising your ability to explore the world how you see fit. The map is said to be 96 square kilometres or 36 square miles, which is said to be larger than Skyrim's map if you want something as context. Streets will even be named the same as they are in real life: Washington Street, Main Street, etc. The Division adopts a third-person camera angle for its tactical cover-based combat. With a range of skills and equipment at your disposal, which we'll discuss later in this video, there will be no shortage of ways to engage your enemy. The game itself, despite being set in an online persistent world, can still be played solo if you so wish, but similarly the same experience can also be had with friends, in co-op. The transition between both single player and multiplayer will be seamless. There will also be zones known as secure zones or social zones. It's in these zones that you will encounter far more players. Think of them as hubs, kind of like how towns worked in Guild Wars 1. Quite how you'll interact with other players in these zones we don't yet know. Perhaps you'll trade items, party up, or even just sit there and chat. Given that you are free to progress through the story by exploring the world in your own way, gameplay will of course heavily focus on exploration and survival. Throughout the world you will be able to secure zones, and securing these areas will influence your game world. For example, if you clear an area, the police will then go on to patrol that area, in turn making it a safer place to be. Or alternatively, restoring power or water to an area will similarly breathe life back into it. Whilst exploring the world, you will scavenge items which will later be used to craft items. Crafting is an important component of The Division, but Ubisoft did state that they wanted to make it approachable. Some MMO type games can have quite complicated crafting systems that often alienate new players, but The Division aims to make it approachable, all while ultimately leaving the player to decide whether they do it or not. Obviously, players that invest time in crafting will have an edge in the world, but again, the emphasis always comes back to your world, your way. There is also thought to be a bounty hunting mechanic in the game based on wanted posters littered around the police station, so this may well form a part of your optional experience and could be a way to earn easy money. Factions will also be a focal gameplay mechanic. Quite whether this is just their term for guilds, clans or squads, we don't yet know, but Ubisoft have made mention of guilds in the past, so it's likely you either form your own faction or align with one of the existing ones in game. If you are to join an existing one, then you'd imagine they'd likely have their own unique attributes or skills that come as a result of your allegiance. In The Division, you can play online with up to 3 friends, plus a companion drone, making an overall team size of 4+1. The companion drone is a mechanic that allows a 5th player to join in from a mobile device and provide aerial assistance and reconnaissance. Whilst flying around, you will be able to buff your team, debuff the enemy, heal your team, and even fire missiles at your enemies. The drone has a range of skills available to it that indicates some other potential methods of assisting your team. These include the likes of Cloak and Cleanse, various weapons both regular and heavy, deployable mines, and some destructive sounding weapons such as napalm. It's also worth noting that playing through the companion app is completely and utterly free, at least for the time being. Ubisoft want to use this mechanic to allow players to experience the game from a different angle before purchasing it. But it's not all about the drone. Your team is, after all, the most important component. When you play, you will be able to see what skill selections your team have in place, so you can pick additional options to complement them. Building on this, Ubisoft are aiming to try and implement a teaming mechanic that matches like-minded players, so if you randomly join someone's game, the aim is to ensure you're matched with someone you actually want to play with. In a persistent online game such as this, with a strong emphasis on RPG elements, you'd expect there to be a range of classes. Heavy weapons, stealth sniper, support, perhaps medic. Nope, none of that. The Division doesn't have classes. You pick the skills you want, the weapons you want, the equipment you want, and you run with it. You make your class. The important bit here is that Ubisoft want to ensure that you can't make a bad choice at character creation. None of that, I wish I'd chosen that class or this specific spec. If you like it, you play it. There will also be extensive character customization that allows you to change the physical appearance of your characters, face and whatnot, as well as your clothes. Whilst progressing through the game, your character will have a range of skills and equipment available that fall into a number of different slots. While there will no doubt be more, here's a sample of some of the ones that we know so far. Adrenaline Boost recovers a friendly target's health and stamina, Group Heal to help you recover the health of your team in a tight situation, Seeker Mines that are proximity-like mines that are planted and once triggered pursue their enemy for a short period of time before detonation. Pulse is an item that sends out an optical pulse in a short radius, highlighting all nearby enemies even through walls. And a Distraction Device is a thrown item that serves to draw the attention of the enemy. All skills are purchased using points, and one's own can be mapped to the bumpers on your controller, so it's likely you'll need to choose wisely as opposed to having freedom to use them all. In addition to skills, character progression also includes talent points. Not a great deal is known about these, but they will likely be used to increase character stats and the effectiveness of skills. Talents can also be respec'd, so that goes back to Ubisoft's point that they don't want players to be locked into a potentially wrong decision. The story goes that the virus that swept the city is man-made, and this means there is no doubt some evil organisation behind this with troops designed to stand in your way. There will obviously be a wide range of enemies that you encounter, some of which are as follows. The Russian Mafia, said to be the ones taking over the police stations, infected NPCs that are dangerous individuals, not necessarily your enemies by choice, but certainly not people you want to come in contact with. Factions, as previously mentioned, will exist, and these will each have their own different tech levels and movement patterns. This means that you'll no doubt have to adopt a different strategy for each of these factions you're going up against. And elites. Certain enemies will be beefed up versions of those that you typically encounter. These would serve to be your mini-boss type enemies. Items and weapons will be your lifeline in this game, so there needs to be a variety of ways to obtain them. The game will feature a black market, or auction house, that will allow the buying and selling of items. The black market will take a cut of whatever you sell, as expected, but will allow you to earn money outside of the conventional story missions. No doubt, in true MMO fashion, you'll have people running these markets in no time, finding the best ways to make money and fast. In addition to the black market, there will also be vendors, again giving you a means to obtain items. It is said that when you begin the game, you are given 72 hours worth of supplies, but beyond that point, you are left to fend for yourself. Find food, water, med packs, ammunition, weapons, upgrades, you name it, you've got to find it. Ubisoft did state though that this is not a survival game akin to that of DayZ, in that water and food, while important, will not be a requirement for your survival. Food and water will be there to give you buffs, as opposed to being a mechanic to stop you from dying from hunger. There are also a range of weapons in this game, and they fall under the following archetypes: submachine guns, shotguns, sniper rifles, pistols and assault rifles. Obviously on top of that you will also have items, upgrades and equipment, so just see these as the base of your arsenal. You can also upgrade your weapons with various components, so the weapon you begin with likely won't be the same once you're done with it. You carry a smartwatch in game, and this serves as your main menu interface. Through this you'll access the map, skills and much more. And your UI is displayed via a special contact lens, and this reveals much of the information you've no doubt come to expect: health, ammo, skills, perks, etc. But it also shows group members, their stats such as health, their perks, their AFK status, clan and other relevant information. And you can also use this contact lens to scan your surroundings. You can scan NPCs for infection, scan dead bodies for the cause of death, or even scan around to highlight items such as food and water. All in all, there are no shortage of items, equipment and abilities at your disposal. And there you have it, that's it for this video and that's it for The Division. There was a hell of a lot of information to get through, so hopefully I caught all of it. Drop a comment down below and let me know what you guys are most looking forward to in The Division, or if there's something I missed or forgot to mention, then do let me know. As always, if you did enjoy this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, hit the like button and show your support, it does really help me out, and obviously don't forget to subscribe for daily gaming videos. Thanks again for watching, take it easy, catch you next time, peace out.